We have rumored updates around the sequel to The Batman starring Robert Pattinson coming out of DC. We're going to get into that right now on the Sundowners Club. Thanks for supporting us in 2023 as we opened our channel up and as we attempt to grow in 2024. So thanks for coming along on the ride with us. We really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about The Batman 2 today. And first Batman movie with Robert Pattinson grossed almost $800 million, which, with all the movies that are tanking nowadays, seems like a big hit.
Yeah.
Because not too many movies are doing $800 million now. So first Batman, before we get into the rumors, did you like it? What were your thoughts on the Pattinson Batman movie?
I liked it. I mean, it's in its own universe, so that in itself is kind of a letdown, because it's not going to be connected with the greater universe.
It's not Christian Bale and it's not Michael Keaton, so you're asking people to jump out on a limb with a new Batman, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it was probably my third favorite behind Christian Bale series, the Keaton.
Not bad then. I mean, like that. So
that's their. I mean, it is.
It's a low bar, but look,
it's not. It wasn't a bad movie. I enjoyed it. There were things I liked about it. I liked the take on that darker.
I like Zoe Kravitz. I liked Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
He was great as the Penguin.
And I liked the Riddler. I thought it had a.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Riddler.
And you wanted okay.
It just wasn't. Well, yeah, that's not the Riddler to me. But
yeah, no, he was a different character. He was more of a serial killer.
It wasn't really like
not a serial killer, a spree killer.
You know how I harp on authenticity.
Yeah, he was different
all the time. He just wasn't an authentic Riddler to me. But it was different. It was its own take on it. And I mean,
And then we had Andy Serkis as Alfred.
He was all right. Yeah.
He didn't do enough in the movie. He didn't have a big role. But so now with filming supposedly beginning in the summer for the Batman Part 2, which is really going to be part of the DC Elseworlds. So they're going to separate this from the James Gunn DC universe that they're moving forward with. It starts with Superman Legacy, and they're going to do a Batman Brave and the Bold that's going to tie into this larger DCU. But this will fall into kind of a one-off, kind of like the Joker and Venom, those types of stories, characters. So this will be part of what's known as DC Elseworlds. So the Batman 2, the rumors started flying that we were going to see a character known as Tommy Elliott, a.k.a. Hush. And Hush has been in the comics, and, he's in the comics, he's a surgeon. He was a friend of Bruce Wayne's, and, he comes back, I think, in the early 2000s. He was part of some of the comic series and trying to kill Batman. He has his face kind of redone to look like Bruce.
He's a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, plastic surgeon. And so, interesting character. And the rumor is that we're going to see Hush. There's been several rumors. One, the villain in the Batman Part 2, and other rumors saying that he is a villain. He's in it. And so while that was being talked about, we had a response from the man himself, James Gunn. First of all, when James Gunn responds to these rumors, do you like him responding and
I love it. I love it. Absolutely.
He just tells them they're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just says, "Hey, that's not true." I like that.
Now he's cryptic though.
Yeah.
To anybody who sees when James Gunn answers a question or says something, you have to pay attention to what he's saying and what he's not saying, and it applies to this. So on Instagram Threads, a post, someone had put out the rumor that the DC villains, including Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Clayface, and Hush would appear in the upcoming sequel, The Batman 2. His response was, nope, totally made up. Now, what he said was that rumor of Professor Pig, Scarecrow, Clayface, and Hush was
they're not all going to be in it.
They're not all going to be in it. No. He did not say
that'd be bloated if that
Hush was not going to be in it. Yeah. So it's the difference between saying this is not the villain in the movie and they're not going to be in the movie. So I think people jumped on that as that he shut the whole thing down, which is not what James Gunn did. So we wanted to point that out and be clear about that. But he also was asked about, there was a rumor that Dick Grayson, a.k.a. Robin, was going to be in the Batman 2, which before we get into what he said about that, that didn't make any sense to me because we know the story of Brave and the Bold is going to have a a Robin version of it. It's not going to be the same as we would see with Dick Grayson, aka Robin, in the Batman 2.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would muddy the water with multiple storylines around that. So that didn't make a lot of sense to me. But he did confirm there will be no Dick Grayson, aka Robin, in the Batman 2 movie with Robert Pattinson.
Well, I mean, we don't really know where. I mean, I'm more concerned if they get Robin in the Brave and the Bold, as opposed to the, and you don't know. You could do Tim Drake, you could do Dick Grayson, or you could do Damon Wayne, but we don't know where Batman's going to be in his career.
The rumor, and again, that not confirmed. I know you don't like to talk about things that are just complete speculation, but Damian Wayne,
and that's cool. But I mean, that means Batman's late in his career.
Yeah,
like he's probably in his.
That had been the
40s.
rumor too, is that Batman was older than David Cornsweet's Superman, in the Brave and the Bold versus Superman Legacy. But one thing to back up for just a second, we have a series coming out in the Elseworlds Batman universe on Max, HBO Max, The Penguin, with Colin Farrell in 2024 this year. So Colin Farrell's Penguin did not die in the first Batman movie.
No.
So it stands to reason that if they have a series coming out, we're going to see him in the second movie to some degree.
I would guess so.
That would make sense that you would see him. So
it is confusing though. You have two parallel Batman universes. I don't know.
Can be, but they're nowhere close to doing anything with the Brave and the Bold right now. This movie will come out at least a year or two before the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah,
they're filming this in like 5 months,
and this could be like it for that. You think? I don't know. Maybe.
It could be. It could wrap it up. It could be just a 2-movie deal. But so it's highly likely we're going to see Colin Farrell as the Penguin in the Batman 2 until we're told otherwise. And then you've got, what's the theme and the tone of part 2? Is it going to be, to your point, is it going to be a bookend, a 2-part series where they wrap the whole thing up? We don't know. We saw teasing of the Joker at the end of the Batman.
Which I didn't like that guy.
I didn't like it. I'll be willing to bet that fans didn't really react well to that. And so I'd be willing to bet that they might leave that alone. A lot remains to be seen as far as some of the casting that's going to come out about who all is going to be in the Batman 2. But, wanted to cover it because I think obviously this property did well. So it'll be interesting to see, is this the foundation for the Elseworlds? Because he obviously, James Gunn and Peter Safran at Warner Brothers, they have some idea for what they want to do with Elseworlds. And so a movie that's made almost $800 million, that might make more than Superman Legacy. So you just don't know, right?
I mean, Batman is more popular than Superman currently. As far
more
as
interesting to explore from a writing perspective, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, as far as like current comic sales, and which are all in the trash anyways, but he's just
with Superman, your writing and your storytelling has to get creative around the character of Clark Kent Superman, because Superman Clark Kent is not as complex a character as Bruce Wayne Batman.
No. So
you can do a lot with Bruce Wayne Batman as a character and everything around him, but with Superman Legacy, you're confined to some degree if you're going to do it right.
Right.
With Superman characters, so you've got to be really smart about how you build the story and the dilemma around Superman. So it's two different writing rhythms. It's like punk rock and pop. It's just two different ways of getting a story across. So wanted to cover this. I think it's interesting. I do think that there's too much noise around Hush to think that some version of that won't show up.
He's a cool villain, but he's not someone that would really work as just a support villain to really flesh his character out.
As a main villain.
Oh yeah, you'd want to have him do the face swap. You'd want, like that's an iconic.
Well, the
part
Penguin
of the character.
In the end of the first movie, the Penguin has taken over the underworld. Of Gotham.
Well, I mean, you could have him be kind of the main villain during the first
he's the brains.
quarter of the movie. Batman takes him out. Hush comes. Like, there's tons,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll probably be like the Penguin will probably be the villain they start out with and then move on.
Because keep in mind, all the stuff with outside of the Riddler story in the first movie served the interest of the Penguin.
Yeah.
So Batman basically did all his dirty work for him. The movie ended with the Penguin in power.
Yeah. That's right.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. We wanted to cover that here as we start to get into 2024, and we're going to hear more casting news and production as this project starts to get ready to have a trailer and be released. So we want to cover all things DCU, especially around Batman and Superman. Let us know what you think. Who is the villain that you want to see in the Batman Part 2? What are you most looking forward to in this Elseworlds continuation of Batman within the DCU? Let us know what you think. While you're doing that, smash that like button, leave us a comment, hit the notifications bell, and most importantly, hit subscribe so we can continue to grow our channel in 2024. And TCB.